The game is the Sorrowvirus, a Faceless short story. It's out now on Nintendo Switch. It came out April 27th of this year, 2022. Published by Eastasiasoft. And full disclosure, Eastasiasoft did provide us the code, so thank you very much for that. This is a first-person puzzle psychological horror experience. And I'm not a big horror guy, but some reason I somehow get drawn into horror games sometimes. And it was just one that the trailer looked intriguing, but I wasn't like totally sold. And to be honest, Steve's like excitement for the game from the trailer kind of pulled me in. Like, oh, I'm gonna request a code for that too. And I didn't really know what I was going to get into when I got into this. And this is pretty much the story is that they've developed this virus called the Sorrowvirus, and what it allows you to do is it allows a person to die, go into purgatory, and they can escape purgatory and come back to life. And they're doing this to try and cure this guy's disease. And so they're like, the diseases keep killing him. We need more time. Send him back to purgatory. Maybe we could figure out some clues in purgatory to cure him. He comes back, lets us know, suffers again, dies, like rinse and repeat. So you play the role in purgatory as you go through purgatory and try and discover secrets and different things going on in this. Really, it's like a fever dream kind of place. And Steve, I'm curious, what are your thoughts going into this?
Yeah, I I didn't remember actually liking this game as much. It was funny because like that it sparked you to be interested in it, and I forgot I was even excited about it, and so I had to look into it again. I was like, oh okay, yeah, I think I kind of remember this game and everything, and I have to say I did not like it. I am actually not a huge fan at all. Even though I may have expressed a lot of excitement in the very beginning, I am not a fan of this for a couple different reasons. One reason is more technical about the game itself, and then one is more the content. So I'll talk content first. This is a really weird and unsettling game, and I did not. I've never played a game that I felt so, I guess, unsettled in my like spirit and heart. Like after I played it, I walked away going, I don't know if I want to come back to this game ever again. And that was part of my experience. And then the other part of it was I was like physically sick as well, because there is something with the frame rate or something that just made me motion sick like 30 minutes into the game, and I was not feeling good afterwards. I went to like the other room and I told my wife and was like, I am not feeling good. This game I was playing just left me in a not good place, like mentally and physically. And I'm just like, I am not touching it. So I didn't touch it again. I've touched it like little bits. Certain things that I didn't like. On top of that is like if you are done, like you can quit the game, but you have to restart when you go back to it. And like, well, I am not restarting this game. Like, I don't want to restart from the very beginning or whatever. Like, you start back from when you wake up, it goes through the whole process again. There's no saving and coming back to it, like anything like that. And I didn't like that either. So, yeah, I didn't have a good experience. What about you, Barry?
Damn. I'll say, first some first person games do actually give me motion sickness, and this one didn't fully give me it. It did. It started. I turned on the fan, which usually helps. It cools me off, and I was able to get through it. I did it in. I don't know. There might have been one sitting. Just I had to take little breaks here or there to get dinner and stuff like that. But I think I did it in all in one sitting. I never quit. It was weird when I paused and it was like you could pause, but time doesn't stop. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? So there is a time mechanic in this game, and the time mechanic is while you're in the purgatory, you have only so much time to escape. Now, the good news is there's clocks. There's a grandfather clock. And if you click them, they create checkpoints. So if you die, you start back there, but it also resets your timer. And there's like a specific clock that will not give a checkpoint, but or it'll give you a checkpoint, but it won't reset your time. And I never had a problem with the time. I never ran out of time, not once. So I don't know really the best way. Like they give you enough time, I feel, to figure things out. And there are puzzles. For me, the thing that got me was like the changing environments. So you'll go down this corridor and you're like, oh, I just go down this corridor. And then you'll get to the end and it's a dead end. And you'll be like, what do I do? And you turn around and it's different.
Yep.
Behind you is all different. And it's like, whoa, okay, that's kind of trippy. And I liked that once I figured out that was a mechanic. At first, I didn't realize it. And I was
Hmm.
like, what do I do? What do I do? And then I was like, oh, wait. Oh, that changed. That's new. The messages on the wall, like the cryptic messages, and there's all the notes you could find. Now, I don't know if you had this problem. I played docked. I don't know if you played docked or
Yep.
handheld,
There's
but
docked. Yep.
the notes were so small, like the writing was so small that I actually, and I have a big TV. I have a
Hmm.
75-inch TV, and the writing was so small. So what happened was I would get a note, I would take out my phone, I would zoom in and take a picture. I would then go back to the home screen to pause the game and bring up my phone and just read what the note was because I couldn't read it on the TV. It was
Yeah.
just so small. And I don't know if you encountered that problem when reading the notes littered around as well, or you were able to read them just fine.
Yeah. I think that was a problem just in general. Like things that I found, like it just wasn't a good game experience the whole time. Like things like what you're saying, like things were too hard to read sometimes, or other times I'm like, I don't even get this. Like it doesn't make sense. Why do I need to do this? Like sometimes the game environments would change and sometimes they wouldn't. Like so you had to like trigger something that wasn't so clear. And I feel like the gaming experience as a whole was very, I don't know, it wasn't user friendly, and that's like what you're saying is just one example of many.
What's funny is I hate jump scares, and there were two that got me. And you're playing the trailer now, and both the jump scares are actually in this trailer. The first was really early in the game where you read a note and you turn around, there's dolls right there in front of you
Hmm.
that are hanging, and like that made me jump. And the other was the door you got to open. I don't know if you got to it, and it like shoots, like there's a loud bang, and it just like runs away from you.
Hmm.
Down
Yep.
a corridor, and that bang like really got me because I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go through this door. What the hell? So that one like really made my heart jump too. Like I was
Hmm.
like, oh my god, like it was just a sudden bang. I was totally complacent, like ready to go. But other than that, I mean, it's just an unusual experience. The story is weird, and there's multiple endings, so I got obviously one of the endings. I feel like there's more to it, um, that's below the surface, and it's one of those games that I feel you could dive into really deep if you want to run through it again and speed run it and figure things out. I didn't. I was content with beating it, and I could not, put that checklist like, yes, I beat the game. Um, and like you, I have no interest in picking it up again and going back in and trying it. Uh, the unsettling creepiness didn't bother me. Yeah, I don't like jump scares, so those bothered me. I'm not a fan of jump scares. I'm not a fan of timed things or being like chased. So I didn't like the time element, but again, it really didn't hinder me, and there was no real chasing, so I was fine with that. But I do like psychological stuff. I think there's something to it, and maybe it stems from like Eternal Darkness. I loved Eternal Darkness. I loved that
Hmm.
psychological atmosphere and the way it played with you as well as in the game.
Hmm.
And I think there's something to telling a story, um, that's not normal. I think there's something like we were just talking about, the psychology of letting stamina run out. Like this, our brains are so complex and so unique and so unusual that I love games that explore that. They may be creepy, they may be, unusual, they may be wrong, but it's an unusual take. It's a nifty take. The whole thing about like saving children, and the dolls represented the children, and you had to save your soul, so you had to find the doll, and you're chasing the doll, and the doll's running away from you, and like I like that. I like that. There's
Hmm.
something really unsettling here. The story behind what happened to the parents, and the arguments going on, and the aide trying to help, and all that stuff. There was a really interesting story to tell that I I just felt it was told too cryptically.
Mm, yeah.
Like they got a little too ambitious with that. But the atmosphere I thought was very good. I liked how there were rooms that you would get to and it would be like destroyed, like a destroyed office, and then you'd like click a teleport thing and like you like your it was like your brain or the guy's brain envisioned it and it kind of like got back in the mindset of the right mindset and we remembered it differently and now the
Mm,
room was suddenly normal and the doors that were like overgrown with grass now or trees can now you can go through and stuff. I liked that. I liked that changing environment because you weren't just going through environments, you were going through environments in someone's head.
yeah.
So that part I did like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I still like as I was playing it and remembering what I initially thought when I first saw the game shown off. I think the concept is remarkable. I think it's really cool to be able to get into someone's head who's going through all that experience and all that stuff. But yeah, I think like you said, I don't know if it just wasn't pulled off well, and it was too cryptic in the story, but also too cryptic in what you needed to do. Like I felt like I just wandered around for way too long. Like I
Oh,
get
really?
like that you kind of feel like you're thrown into this, but you're also thrown into it with like very very little backstory, very little like explanation of what you're supposed to do at all. And so I felt like I was just wandering around for a while and just kind of found different
Hmm.
things. I found the clocks. I clicked them. I didn't know what they did. And there was a
Well, there
lot
was a
of
note
that.
that said what it did.
Like, yeah, I didn't even see it. Maybe it was too small to even read.
It
I
was
don't
too
know.
small.
but
Yeah, there
yeah,
was
I
a
feel like,
note.
but by that point too, if by the point there I finally figured out a little bit what I was supposed to do, I was already starting to get physically sick from just motion sickness from playing, and at that point too, I was realizing I don't know if I feel too good overall, and I haven't had a desire to go back to it. And I think that's the unfortunate thing is like I can get certain games aren't for certain people and that's fine, but like because I didn't have a good experience with the game, it kept me from going back to it later, like and experiencing it again because I didn't have a good gameplay experience as well.
Yeah, it's not a terribly long game. It's only a couple hours, and faster the second, third times because you know the puzzles and you know what to do and where to go. And I know there's like certain things to do. Like there's a lock in the very first room you get into with a padlock, and you don't have a pad. Like I'm sure if you knew the code, you can go through there and see different things. There were some interesting puzzles. A lot of it involving lighting candles. One of them that was a padlock one. It was you had to guess the number, and there were numbers on the four corners of the room hidden, and it
Hmm.
was a little note saying like, "Oh, John first ran north, and then Jim went west, and then so and so went and like oh, you go north and you find the number there. Okay, that's the first number of the combination. It was really cool, and they were all different ways of showing the number. It wasn't just just here's the number five. It was maybe five things, or one was a clock, and you had to guess what the time it was is the number. Like cool things like that. There was some thought put into it, and definitely clever. Voice
Hmm.
acting I thought was also good. The music
Hmm.
was atmospheric. I liked that there was a lot of the audio recordings you heard, and that was cool. But I don't think I need to even ask this question, but I do feel I need to ask this question. Steve, would you recommend this game?
Oh, 100% no. Uh, yeah, no, I do. I wouldn't. I think it's definitely it's ambitious. I think it's got a lot of promise, but for at its final state as of now, no, I wouldn't. I think there's a lot of tweaks and things they could improve upon, and it might convince me to say yes if you like that kind of thing. But right now, I wouldn't actually recommend it to anybody, which is pretty strong. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's strong. I think the game's rough around the edges. Like you could see, it was probably like a PC game ported to the Switch. And maybe the Switch doesn't perform as well. But it is normally 14.99. It's on sale as of the time of this recording, for 11.99 digitally. I don't think I would recommend it at that price either. I think 4.99 I would recommend it if this all sounds interesting to you. If you like the idea of going through purgatory and seeing what someone's internal psyche is like and figuring out puzzles, and you like first person adventures, and you really want to dive into the story, then yes, I think at $5 you're getting your value. But if not, I also am gonna have to say pass.